Just under a year ago, I had the privilege to stand in this place and deliver my maiden speech. This was just after a 1 in 500 year flood event that happened in Townsville. We had been tested, we had been tried, but we were optimistic about the future. When coronavirus hit, the impacts on our economy, our livelihoods, was something that we just couldn't comprehend. We saw businesses close. We saw people being very uncertain about their future. And we were once again tested. And we can't be anything but grateful that in Townsville no lives were lost. But I want to take this moment to acknowledge and pay my deepest sympathies and respects to everyone around the country who have lost a loved one, a family member, a friend, throughout this pandemic. And also acknowledge the member for Cooper, Jed Carney in this place, whose father-in-law passed. This isn't something we kick around like a political football, nor should we be debating with knives. This is a time when we put the Australian people and our economy first. And I'd also need to acknowledge that as a community, like so many others, are doing it incredibly tough. For nearly 3 months, businesses have been sitting empty. Pubs, clubs, restaurants, shops, tourist attractions, closed or have limited people allowed to go there. Now we know that these restrictions had to happen. We know that people and the health of people had to come first. And we know that in Townsville, we were so optimistic, and I remember speaking in this place and throwing a little bit of chat towards the speaker because we just opened our state-of-the-art football stadium, and I still owe the speaker a Cowboys tie that I'll bring down for you. But within days after our first game, it was gone. It's played one game with a full capacity stadium. Now the stadium is empty. The closures were important to save lives, and things could be much worse if we hadn't taken the necessary steps to protect ourselves, especially our most vulnerable. But it became very clear very quickly that we would have to do a lot to work on our economy, to keep it going, and to continue to keep it going into the future. Let's not forget the rotten run we've endured for the last 5 years. The closure of Q&I, the flood, the drought, out of control crime, and now the coronavirus. As many in this place would have experienced, what followed once the extent of the restrictions became clear was an absolute avalanche of phone calls, emails, messages, individuals and businesses crying out for information and assistance. We've worked quickly and effectively to reinforce the safety nets we already had in place in our community to be able to stand up to the weight of demand it was about to face. First, job seeker, and then job keeper. It was important to be able to have an answer, to go back to people, to talk to people about what was available. And we know that it wasn't all smooth sailing, particularly with regard to JobKeeper. And only through working constructively with many business owners in the community, we were able to make a number of improvements to the program to ensure businesses in my community, in the north, or in the electorate, were able to properly be looked after. Because we know that you had to look 12 months previously to be able to go and to have that downturn for JobKeeper. But 12 months previously, we had a flood. We didn't have the business thriving. So with the community support and their advocacy, and myself talking to the ministers down here, we were then a year past that. So 2018, the 30% downturn. That's what we got to achieve because of the strong support within the community. And I want to let the people of Townsville know, I will not stop advocating for you. I'll never give up putting your needs before political convenience. There's never been a more important time for us to work together. I'm your voice in Canberra.